Arsenal get the job done in the North London derby. Arsenal 3, Tottenham 2. But boy, oh boy, that final 6 minutes was probably the longest 6 minutes of my life. My heart was coming out of my throat at one point. That was not the best game that Arsenal have played this season. In fact, it wasn't even in the top half of games that we've played this season. But we got the job done. And you know what? In a title race, that's what you've got to do, especially away against Spurs. You know, if we'd let them get an equaliser, God, that would have been torture. Absolute torture. In terms of the game itself, you know, we started quite well. We allowed Tottenham to have a lot of the ball, which I didn't mind too much. I think allowing them to have the ball is kind of the blueprint to beating them, actually. You allow them to have possession and you beat them in transitions. And the second goal that we scored was the perfect example of how you do that. But I felt like at times we did need more control, especially when we were leading the game. There were moments where you thought, you know, if we can just get a foot on the ball and knock it around for a bit, we just ease the pressure. Obviously, individual errors cost us, but also individual moments of brilliance won the game for us. In terms of how that leaves us, obviously, City are playing right now. They're 1-0 up as I'm recording this at half-time. So, look, we are relying on City to drop points still, and that is painful. It's so painful knowing that we can win the final 3 games and still not win the league, but it is what it is. That's the position we find ourselves in. Getting into the game, obviously, we'll bring up individual players that I thought had a really, really good game. The overall stats, like I said, you know, we allowed them a lot of possession. We allowed them, you know, 2.37 XG. That might be the most we've conceded in a game this season. I'm not entirely sure, but that feels like it might be up there at least with the most we've conceded in a game this season. But they only have 14 shots, 2 on target. Obviously, a significant amount of that actually will have come from the penalty that we gave them. Son missed a one-on-one, which was quite a poor miss. And, you know, we didn't create all that much for ourselves. Obviously, the opening goal is a mistake from them, a Højbjerg own goal. But that was one key thing that I thought, you know, we've been incredibly strong from set pieces this season, and Spurs have been incredibly weak from them. Vicario is really soft under crosses, proper soft underbelly, and we massively took advantage of that. You know, you saw it with the third goal. Ben White just stands on him. You know, Ben White just stands on him. He doesn't foul him. I've seen Spurs fans complaining it's a foul. It's not a foul. Ben White doesn't foul him. He just stands in his way. You're allowed to do that. He's allowed to stand wherever he wants. And Vicario is soft. And we targeted that, and it worked. And like I said, you know, we beat them in transition, but ultimately we had 3 shots on target and we scored 3 goals. Spurs had 2 shots on target. They scored 2 goals. So, yeah, 3-2 looks like a big scoreline. But there weren't a huge number of massive chances. We certainly didn't create that many big chances. I thought the other one that we should have scored was the Saka one. Vicario made a very good save from Bukayo Saka. And, you know, obviously that would have completely ended the game. So it was a good effort from Saka. Probably should have scored it, and a good save from Vicario. But overall, we didn't get out of second gear. We didn't get out of second gear in that game. I thought first half especially, the fact that we were 3-0 up, it felt like a 0-0 game. Like, truthfully, it felt like a 0-0 game when we were 3-0 up, and you kind of sat there going, well, I don't know how we've done this, but we'll absolutely take it. In terms of, you know, the controversies that Spurs fans are talking about, some of them are complaining about the offside, Mickey van der Ven's offside. Now, don't get me wrong. If that goal stands, I think we're in trouble, because by that point, that would have been the equaliser. It would have made it 1-1. And I thought they were on top of us at that point. So it was fortunate that it went our way, but offside is offside. There's no getting around it. And it was offside. And then the penalty appeal before our second goal, Trossard on Kulusevski. Now, look, I don't think it's a penalty. I think they're crossing paths. Neither of their strides change or alter. And they clip each other, right? Now, Kulusevski, I think if he goes straight down, I think he might get something out of it. I think because he tries to stay on his feet, it actually works against him. And I do think that's an issue in the Premier League with refereeing, that you are penalised for trying to be honest, and you're rewarded a lot of the time for going down. But it's certainly not enough for VAR to overturn it. And that's the key thing. As soon as the on-field referee doesn't give it, it's certainly not enough to overturn it from VAR. So But I don't really think Spurs fans can complain about that one either. And then there was another penalty appeal on Kulusevski as well, which I just don't think was a penalty at all. The penalty that they did get, I think it is a penalty. It's one of those. It's a bit of a mistake by Rice, but it also like it's difficult to avoid it. You know, he's going to clear the ball, and Davies just kind of gets there first. But no complaints about that being a penalty. And the other goal that we gave them, obviously, was David Raya. So we will talk about the individuals, and we'll start with Raya at the back. Look, I actually thought he had a really good game. I thought Raya had a really good game overall. Was commanding the box really well. And actually, and Mikel Arteta has said this himself after the game, you know, Raya bounced back from the mistake incredibly well. You know, it's one of those, it's an individual error. He knows he's made a mistake, but he bounced back from it. The mistake itself is really bad. You know, we're 3-0 up. We're in complete control. It turns the game on its head, making that mistake, and there's just no need for it. You know, he gets caught in two minds. He doesn't know whether to go long or go short. In the end, he does neither. And the thing is, you know, if you are caught in two minds, just go long. If in doubt, kick it out. That is the motto. So, look, mistake, but in the end, it didn't cost us the game, and he bounced back from it well. White, I thought, overall had a decent game. Saliba and Gabriel, I thought, had a really good game. You know, they were solid, ultimately. Neither of the goals were on them, and outside of that, they effectively kept a clean sheet. So, you know, I thought all three of them were fine. I thought Ben White wasn't as attacking as he normally is, I thought. But other than that, they were fine. Tomiyasu, not his best game. I thought he was a little bit uncomfortable throughout a lot of the game. I certainly don't think it was one of his best games. Thomas Partey, I thought, was brilliant. You know, it was exactly kind of what I said in the preview. Thomas Partey's ability to play out quickly and progress the ball, really good. And I thought he was pretty solid defensively as well, physically. Ødegaard had a quiet game. I think they parked Højbjerg on him for a lot of the game. And the thing is, that works in two ways. In one way, it worked really well for them. They nullified Ødegaard through most of the game. In the other sort of way, they had to commit a player constantly just to man-marking Ødegaard, and that freed us up in other areas. Declan Rice had a solid game. Obviously, he gave away that penalty, which was a mistake. Outside of that, you know, can't really complain about the way that he played. I thought he was... I mean, he won a lot of balls back. He did his job. Bukayo Saka, I thought, was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant today. You know, people say he ghosts in big games. The goal is sensational. The touch, the first touch, the way he carries it, chops inside, passes it in. Such a good goal. And outside of that, he was such an outlet for us. You know, every time the ball got out to him, he'd win a foul, he'd hold it up. Defensively, I thought he was brilliant. 10 defensive actions, 3 recoveries. You know, he just had a really, really good game. Trossard, I thought, struggled today. I thought the whole left-hand side actually was a bit weak today. And Trossard, you know, no chances really fell to him. And then Kai Havertz, I just thought, was absolutely sublime. From the very first whistle, the very first action was winning that header. And from that point on, it just set the tone. You know, the assist for Saka's goal, he draws out that space. He occupies the space that Saka runs into. He then draws them out, carries the ball, pin-perfect ball over to Saka. And then obviously he scores the goal, the third goal for us as well. And I just thought, he gets it. You know, that was his first North London derby away, his first away North London derby. And he stood up. He was one of those players that was like, right, let's have it. And I'm so happy for him. So happy for him. Yeah, I look now, I think Kai Havertz has an incredibly bright future at Arsenal Football Club. He's almost becoming a bit of a cult hero already amongst the fans. And I'm just massively happy for him. In terms of Spurs team, I thought Romero was absolutely sensational today. I thought he had an unbelievable game. Mickey van der Ven's pace is freakish. And, you know, they do rely on it, but fair play because he's got it. Bentancur, I thought, was poor. Højbjerg, I didn't think was brilliant. Obviously scored the own goal. Maddison, very, very average and very, very dislikable. Heung-min Son, I don't think he's best through the middle. You know, overall, I just thought that they didn't play particularly well. But again, neither did we. It was a weird game. It was a really weird game. But the main thing is the table. Now, obviously, like I said, Man City are currently winning. That would leave them a point behind us. They're 1-0 up at the moment, so that would keep a nice goal difference buffer between us. We've got 3 games left. That's all we can do. All we can do is win our remaining 3 games. No excuses, right? Spurs away was the final real challenge, in my opinion. We've got Bournemouth at home. which actually I think of the 3 games will be the hardest. Old Trafford just doesn't bother me. Simply doesn't. We should go there and win, and then Everton at home. And look, if we win all 3, we end on 89 points. That's the points total that City won the league on last season. We'd have won 16 out of our final 18 games at that point. What more can you do? What more can you do? And if City still win it, you know, they'd have been unbeaten since December. It is what it is. I am very, very happy and very, very confident about this team and our future. But look, we'll be back tomorrow with the normal live stream. I appreciate you all for watching. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. Smash a like on the video as well. And until then, hopefully, City somehow capitulate in the second half, but I doubt it. So we will probably be back tomorrow evening discussing whether or not Arsenal can win the title. But like I said, thank you for watching and goodbye.